Hello everybody, my name is Lina and welcome to another video. I have to admit that I haven't been feeling quite well these days. So today, instead of bringing you some book recommendations, I think that I'm going to put those recs on my next week's vlog. Probably, but I'll let you know. I wanted something light, so I decided to do a tag. I've been following this tag for a bit. I really enjoyed seeing these videos, so I think it's time for you to learn what I usually like in fantasy, because I think that I read quite a bit of different types and genres, so why not? Let's get into the get to know the fantasy reader tag. So the first question will be, what is your fantasy origin story? So I get into fantasy. I will say that at the same time that I discovered Harry Potter, I actually discovered a Spanish fantasy series that is quite fantastic and it still holds a great memory for me. That is called Memorias de Idun, and I think that it was just like a huge hit here for everyone. I don't know anyone, well, I'm lying. I know one person who hasn't read it, but everyone that is kind of my age, I'm 24 actually, yeah, I'm super old. Almost everyone my age has already read this. I actually don't know anyone who doesn't like this series. It's actually a trilogy and the books are gigantic. I don't have them with me, but I'm planning on rereading them next month because I've been quite excited about it lately. So I think it's about time that I do a reread, because I last read them when I was at, I don't know, at school, like 11 or 12 maybe, or I think that even less. I think that less, because yeah, it was around the time where I discovered Harry Potter. And I remember that with Harry Potter, I had this thing with one of my friends. She's a couple of months older than me. And when she turned 11, I was just like, well, your Hogwarts letter didn't arrive, but mine could actually possibly arrive. So screw you. But yeah, that's how I get into fantasy. This is a pretty thick fantasy for being it's definitely a YA fantasy series, but it was pretty thick at the time. I need to see how I feel about it right now. The second question will be, if you could be the hero or heroine in a fantasy novel, who would be the author and what's one trope you would insist be in the story? Well, I'm a huge fan of grimdark, but I don't think that I would really like to live in a grimdark fantasy world. Definitely no. So that leaves out Mark Lawrence out of the question, but I would probably choose Robert Jordan. I really like Detail World or Brandon Sanderson, probably one of those. I really enjoy when you have extreme world building, so I want to live in a complex world, okay? Not in a just setting. No, a really good complex world for me. But yeah, probably it would be that. And I'm sorry, I'm just a sucker for this. I will be the chosen one because that trope is fucking amazing. I still love it too. Till the day I die, probably. But yeah, I will probably choose that. I would definitely pick Robert Jordan. And I will also have like a super prophecy. Third question. What is a fantasy that you have read this year that you want more people to read? This is a super easy one. Please, I know that I have talked about this book a bit too much lately, but it is a necessity. You should read The Sword of Kagan by Emma Wan. This is one of the best fantasies I have ever written. I wish I have ever read. And oh my god, I love this story so much. I actually kind of want to read it, but I don't want to suffer again. Because this is a pretty, I wouldn't say dark, but it's a pretty emotional read. And I don't think I'm ready yet. But yeah, it definitely would be The Sword of Kagan. It is probably my favorite book that I have read so far this year. One of my favorite books of all time already. Oh, it's so good. Then, question 4. What is your favorite fantasy subgenre and what subgenre have you not read much from? I will say that my favorite genre will probably be grimdark, but I haven't read that much grimdark lately. So one of my other favorite subgenres will definitely be sword and sorcery. I don't know, I found them to be so easy to read. It's just like, oh yeah, this is just how things happen, and it's so reassuring in a weird way. But yeah, probably those two. I would say that pretty equal is my love for them. Yeah, dark fantasy and sort of I almost said, and sort in sorcery. And the least one, it would probably be magical realism. Yeah, I was going to say urban fantasy, but I actually read a pretty good amount of urban fantasy a year. I actually just read one recently that I completely forgot to put in my March wrap up, but I read Uncanny Collateral by Brian McClellan, and it was really, really good, and I enjoyed it so much that I have already bought book 2. But definitely magical realism. Even though Neil Gaiman is one of my favorite authors, I probably only read magical realism from him. Then, in question 5, who is one of your auto by authors? And for this one, it's going to be pretty easy. I won't say Brandon Sanderson because I think that that's one that everyone else buys, but I have 2 here. Obviously, Mark Lawrence. I love every single one of his books, and I probably will buy anything that he puts out. I have even read his sci-fi series, but focusing on the fantasy, I would say that Prince of Thorns is probably still my favorite book by him. Well, my favorite series by him, the Broken Empire trilogy, but Red Sister was amazing. I'm currently on Grey Sister, and I need to finish this trilogy soon so I can jump into the next trilogy set in this world. I think that I love Mark Lawrence's writing style. I don't know, but he doesn't feel like he's dragging the story too much, and he's not afraid of being short in his books or being too long, which is something that I appreciate. Because if you're going to give me a really long book that is going to be filled with not important information, I don't want to read your book. So yeah, he's not afraid of changing the length of his books, and I really enjoy that. Also, definitely Brian McClellan. I have read his previous trilogy, The Powder Mage, which is fucking amazing, and I really, really would hope that you give it a chance. And this one is the second trilogy set in the same world, and I have also read his urban fantasy series, which is just as amazing as this one, even though the urban fantasy one is really, really short. Well, the books are really, really short. Look at this one. But yeah, it will be kind of the same with Mark Lawrence, but I really like how Brian McClellan builds the world. You don't have the complete information when you first arrive in the book, so it's pretty progressive and it doesn't feel like info dumping, which is amazing. But yeah, definitely Brian McClellan. I will buy anything you want to publish, anything. Question 6. How do you usually find fantasy recommendations? I will say that this one is a pretty easy pick. I get basically all my recommendations from YouTube. I follow a huge amount of booktubers that have kind of a similar taste to me. I don't really like to follow people that read completely different books than me because, I don't know, I don't find it quite entertaining. And well, even though, I mean, Kayla from Books and Lala just reads really, really different books from me, but she does such an amazing, entertaining content that I watch them anyway. But apart from that, I really follow many fantasy booktubers, so I get most of my recommendations from them. I would say that I trust the most Kitty Yi's recommendations. She kind of made me enjoy more self-published, so I've been really in sync with her lately. And she also discovered me this fantasy series by David Hare. This is the Moontide Quartet, which is amazing, and I have to thank her so much for that. But yeah, I would say that mostly from YouTube, even though I kind of looked pretty much good recommendations on Goodreads also, because sometimes you see that review about a book and you're just like, it sounds amazing. But yeah, I would love to know if there's any kind of podcast that is actually really good. But yeah, definitely YouTube and Goodreads. And question 7, what is an upcoming fantasy release you're excited for? Well, I will tell you 2 of them. The first one will be The Burning God by Rebecca Kwan. This is the third and final book to the Poppy War trilogy, and I'm sad that it's over, but I'm so excited to read this book. Oh my god, I will kill for an arc of it. But yeah, it's coming out on the summer, and the other one will definitely be The Memory of Souls by Jen Lyons. This is also the conclusion to another trilogy, A Curse of Dragons, which I've been loving for this past year and a half, and yeah, I'm so excited to read them. They're going to be awesome. Well, also Arcane Ascension Book 3 is coming out this year, which is making me so happy. Question 8. What is one misconception about fantasy you would like to lay to rest? I would say that people need to realize that not every fantasy is just like Game of Thrones. I hate that comparison. I get that it's something really close to people, but no, dude. Not every fantasy needs just like this complex politics and this complex world and these gigantic tomes. No, there's fantasy that is actually quite light and is still really, really enjoyable. Even though I really like my thick fantasy, people need to calm down with the Game of Thrones comparison because it's starting to be really, really tiring. Question 9. If someone had never read fantasy before and asked you to recommend the first 3 books that come to mind as places to start, what would those recommendations be? The first one, of course, will be the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. I will start by Elantris, but this is a great series to start if you have never read like really high adult fantasy. I think that for being a high fantasy is pretty relaxed, the Mistborn series, so I will definitely recommend it to anyone. Anyone who wants to start reading fantasy should be able to follow the Mistborn series pretty easy. Then, if they really like dark stories in general, I would probably recommend them Prince of Thorns. Even though this is, I wouldn't say a beginner's fantasy, it's a little bit more complex. I think that the fact that you're only following York, it will can make this story pretty easy to follow. So I don't think anyone should have a problem reading this. But if you was like a really dark person, I would definitely recommend it, the Prince of Thorns trilogy. And for someone who really likes kind of lyrical fantasy, I will give them something by Aaron Morgenstern or by Laini Taylor. I don't have here the Strange Dreamer duology, but I will highly recommend that if they are more into this really lyrical fantasy with romance, you know what I mean. But yeah, definitely one of these ones, like the Stardust Sea or the Night Circus or the Strange Dreamer duology, or even the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. That would be a great choice also. And the last one, who is the most recent fantasy reading content creator you came across that you would like to shout out? This is going to be a pretty easy one. I discovered her channel a week ago, and she's also a pretty small YouTuber. I will link her channel right here and put an image, but yeah, Katie is an amazing content creator and she's such a huge Sanderson fan also that yeah, I would really think that you will enjoy her content if you like fantasy. So yeah, those were all the 10 questions. I probably spent too much time picking answers for this, but I can help it. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. I really hope that you enjoyed it and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!